What's up, YouTube? It is Jay, aka That's So Jay, and this video is a part of my future SLP videos. For those of you that are new to my channel, I am a current speech pathology graduate student. I'm in my first year. I just finished my midterms, which I'm actually going to post a midterm vlog, so stay tuned for that. I just got my grades back. And so basically, my journey as a speech language pathologist, I will be vlogging a lot. I have a lot of speech pathology assistant vlogs up, so definitely I'm going to link all of those videos in the description box. So if you are really interested in this field, then definitely subscribe to my channel, because that is one of the things that I do talk about a lot on this channel. So definitely. Alright, so what I did was why am I so out of breath? What is wrong with me? So basically, I made a post on YouTube. It's like the lighting looks crazy. All right, so I made a post on YouTube kind of just asking, like, what do you guys want to know about speech pathology or like SLPA? So I got a few comments and I'm going to just answer those questions. All right, so the first question I got, and I'm going to read them word for word. It says, what fields have you had experience in and prefer the most as an SLP/SLPA, nursing homes, hospitals, schools, etc.? So for me, as an SLPA, you are very, very limited. And for those of you that don't know what an SLPA is, that is a speech language pathologist assistant, which means that you are an assistant to the actual speech therapist. So you already have not only restrictions on the job duty, but you also have restrictions on what settings and where you can actually work. So for me as an SLPA, I've only worked in the school setting, and I like it. It's definitely you definitely have a heavy caseload. You can have like 50 to 60 kids. You're very busy, and to me, I feel like you're kind of just doing whatever the SLP like doesn't have time to do. So there's like pros and cons. Maybe I'll do a separate video, because you guys like to know a lot about like the career field for SLPA, but I've only worked in the school setting, and pretty much as the SLPA, you really can only work in the schools or private practice or like in homes. Like, you can't work as an SLPA in a hospital or a nursing home or like anything that's like more medical based. They don't hire assistants. Okay, this question says, do you think an online BA program will effectively teach you the proper technique to be an SLPA? You're learning the same materials. I don't discredit online schools at all, because I'm in school right now online, and I feel like I'm learning just as much. Granted, I don't really know how they would do clinic hours so much if you are doing speech pathology online, but I mean, because of COVID, I feel like there's a thing called semi-case, so I'll probably do a vlog about that. But I honestly feel like, don't discredit a program because it's online. I'm pretty sure that program will try to work something out so that you can see clients in person, or you'll do some kind of like online seminars so that you're really still getting the experience. Because as long as you have the knowledge, it's up to you to really apply it in the clinic. But yeah, so if you're still able to get your hours, you're still learning about what to do in clinic, then I think that you should definitely be okay, regardless if your program is online or in person. Okay, this question says, during SLPA clinicals, did you use whatever techniques your supervisor used for your therapy sessions? If so, did you later find that those techniques did not work for you? Okay, so did you use whatever techniques? Okay, so during this is SLPA clinicals, but I'm just going to say when I actually had the job as an SLPA. So for me, when I started working as an SLPA, I definitely felt like my undergraduate program did prepare me, because like I said, we did have an on-campus speech and hearing clinic. So I did work with children while I was in undergrad as a student, and we did have a supervisor. And you know, I learned that we had a whole closet filled with like board games and stuffed animals and just a whole bunch of materials. And I just kind of learned that you need a lot of materials when it comes to speech therapy. Just like with teachers and educators, they have like so many crafts, a lot of hands-on things when you go in the preschool rooms. So I think just seeing that and utilizing those materials and things in undergrad taught me like, okay, once I got to the schools, I had to go and get those same things. A lot of the times the schools provided me with a lot of stuff. They a lot of times the SLP left behind a lot of games and puzzles and things like that. So I think just learning how to implement materials in your therapy was something that I learned from undergrad. Do later find techniques did not work for you? Honestly, I think every kid is different, so you have to like, you're gonna learn a lot in undergrad. I'm learning a lot more, of course, in graduate school, of just different techniques and things like that. So you kind of have to see like what works for every child. So kind of learning about children with autism, children that are nonverbal, I'm learning more about that now in graduate school than I did in undergrad, because when I was in Massachusetts, I had a very heavy autism nonverbal caseload, and the things that I was doing with them was not effective in the beginning. And like, I think after having kids like just scream and cry during my sessions kind of made me feel like, all right, what am I doing wrong? And like I said, that was, you know, in undergrad I was so used to making up crafts and making up games, and it just worked for every kid. But when I got into like the real world and I had clients where that stuff didn't work, I guess that was kind of that moment of like, ooh, I can't do this with this kid. I need to think of something else. So like I said, you're going to learn so many techniques of working with children, of working with different clients. And, you know, some things you learn in undergrad, you're going to learn so much. And some things you're going to be like, okay, this doesn't really work with this kid. And then you're going to learn things you're like, all right, I need to probably modify this because this kid doesn't talk, or this kid hates Play-Doh, you know. So really, it's all about taking what you've learned from school and modifying it for your client. So, and that's pretty much every field. You're going to learn a lot of things in school, and it's up to you to know how to implement it. All right, I feel like something is on my nose. How to prepare for SLPA certification and what travel agency you recommend. Another travel agency actually just reached out to me today. So there are so many travel agencies, especially with SLPA. I've had so many reach out to me, but I've only worked with Therapy Staffing. I love Therapy Staffing. I've signed 3 contracts with them, so I have nothing against them. There are some pros and cons. I will say that they could do better. And then I definitely feel like as far as the pay, I love Therapy Staffing because they definitely will pay you good, and they will also make sure that you have your health insurance, you have, you know, a lot of good benefits. And then some things I feel like they don't include in their contracts that I don't like. But I'll list some other agencies. There's, I think it's called like Pro Care Therapy. There's Sunbelt Staffing. I know SLPs that have worked for them. I have a friend that's the SLPA. She worked for like a different agency. So there's a couple of different agencies. I would just say when you are selecting what travel agency you want to work for, really make sure you read your contract. I had my dad read my first contract, and you know, he made sure that I was getting benefits, I was getting paid what I needed to get paid to be living by myself comfortably in that town. So just make sure that you are just really looking into your contract. More so, like when you're looking into that agency, look at what they're specifically offering for you in that contract. So that's how I would recommend finding the perfect agency for you. So good question, Keisha. It says, when I've researched SLPA jobs, I don't see a lot. Do you think the job market for SLPAs is phasing out? I do not think the job market for SLPAs is phasing out. I think that you have to look at SLPAs on a national level, because some states, like I know in like New Jersey, New York, Delaware, they don't have SLPAs at all, and that's just that state just does not have it. And I think that if you go somewhere like Washington State, they were like desperate, and where I was at in Maryland, they were also very desperate for SLPAs and SLPs. So I think that I know not everyone's always comfortable like moving across country, or you know, just moving in general outside of their hometown, but you have to really look more so on a national scale. If you're just like, I don't want to leave within my home state and there's not a lot of SLPA jobs, then you're going to think, wow, there must not be a need. But when you get with those contracting agencies, they will tell you, look, we need a SLPA like right now, and it might be in Idaho, but hey, if you want the job, you'll say yes. All right. This girl said, did you have a specific SLPA program you went through to get certified, or were you able to get certified on the job? Also, how much did it cost to get certified? All right, this is a couple questions in one. So I did not go through a specific SLPA program. A lot of times, well, I know right now ASHA does have something that is up for the SLPA certification. So that's very new. They just started that this summer. So I'll post that in the description box also. I basically just met the requirements. So I know in Massachusetts, they wanted you to have a bachelor's degree in speech pathology or communication disorders. They wanted you to have, you had to have a bachelor's degree. They wanted you to have only 20 clinical hours, and that was pretty it. They had very easy recommendations. I know Maryland, they did make you take a test. You did already have to have a job before you could apply for the license, so you had to show proof that you already had a supervisor. Most states just have requirements, and the requirements might be taking a test. It might be having this amount of hours. Some states say like, oh, if you don't have this amount of hours from undergrad, you can still like work on, I think it was called a provisional SLPA license. Every state has so many different terms, so many different licenses, but like I said, I didn't have to go through a specific like program. It was more so I went on the site, I saw the requirements, and I just met all of them. So I submitted my application. My agency always paid for all my certifications. Most of the time they can range from like $50 to $100. It just depends, and then they usually last you for about 2 years, and then you have to pay to renew the license. All right, oh, this is another couple of questions. Oh no, sorry, I'm skipping somebody. What are your best tips for clinicals and creating a good relationship with your supervisor as an SLPA student? I like this question. So my best tips for clinicals is make sure that you are asking a lot of questions. If you do not know something, if you need help, you don't understand something, make sure that you are asking your supervisor. If you are on the job as an SLPA, make sure that you're following your scope of practice. I think a lot of times parents will ask you certain questions that you really cannot answer. They'll ask you about testing, IEP meetings. So just really make sure that you know what you're allowed to do and what you're allowed to talk about as an SLPA, because that's something that can really get you in a lot of trouble if you are doing something that you're not supposed to. So like, I've been in situations that have not been good or ethical, and I've had to say like, look, this is, you know, this can cost me my license if I do this. So just make sure that you know the code of ethics and that you're, you know, doing the right thing in your field as an SLPA. So that'd be my biggest advice. And just make sure you're keeping your supervisor updated. Like, I had my supervisor's cell phone number. I would email them even at the job. I'm like, okay, what do I do? This teacher is telling me this or whatever. Like, you know, just make sure you're constantly keeping contact with them, because you don't want someone from the school or the principal reaching out to them saying like, hey, your assistant is out here not doing this or not doing this. Like, you want them to be like, all right, listen, she's already talked to me about that. Like, you know, so just make sure that you're kind of always keeping them in the loop of things, of what's going on, especially if you have a supervisor that's not really always there because they're in IEP meetings or they're doing something else, that you're just always keeping them up to date pretty much, and just asking a lot of questions. So definitely build a good relationship with them. I actually went out to dinner with my supervisor in Maryland and I loved it. Like, it's really important to make sure you're just, you know, keeping them like appropriate, like supervisor, assistant, but also like, I don't know, like make sure y'all have a good friendship, but like a work friendship. All right, this is the one that's like a couple questions. All right, so she said, would you recommend becoming an SLPA first or going straight to grad school? So I'm gonna answer like them in sections. So honestly, that one is very much opinion. I always say all the time, I wanted to go straight to. All right, so sorry guys, my camera died, so the lighting is a little weird, but we're gonna go with that for now. So it says, would you recommend becoming an SLPA first or going straight to grad school? So for me, I feel like that is kind of like your opinion. I never wanted to go, I never was like, oh, I need to go to graduate school first type of person. I mean, I never wanted to work as an SLPA first. Like becoming an SLPA was something that kind of just happened by accident. Like I said, I don't know, I have a whole video explaining my journey and my story of how I got my job as an SLPA. But I will say, working as an SLPA first prior to going to grad school is very beneficial. I just feel like I know so much, like especially when I'm learning about things, I have that experience. I can like engage in conversation when we're lecturing about certain things because I'm just very knowledgeable on the field. So I would definitely say it definitely benefits you, and that's kind of for all fields. You know, when you get that work experience before going into a graduate program, you're doing nothing but learning more and gaining your knowledge. Another thing that I will say, as far as like working as an SLPA first before going into grad school, it looks really good on your resume. So a lot of times when people want to hire and they're like, oh, we wish you had experience, because some people for some reason don't like to hire when you're fresh out of school or just got your license. But I feel like if you're like, okay, well, I already worked as an assistant, you have those recommendation letters from previous supervisors, or you were working in graduate school, sometimes that school will just keep you and then they'll just have to pay you as an SLP instead of an assistant. So I think as far as like job wise, it definitely helps you when you graduate because you have experience, you can request more money, things like that. But it's personally up to you whether you feel like working first or if you feel like going to school first is better. Alright, sorry y'all, this lighting is killing me. Alright, is it a good idea working as an SLPA during graduate school, and do you have enough time to work full-time, go to classes, study? All right, so I work part-time as an ABA therapist. I don't work as an SLPA, but I do want to work next semester as an SLPA when I move to another state. So I would say that every graduate program, they're going to try to say like, don't work full-time, don't work part-time. It is a lot. My friends that are working and in graduate school, I have people in my program that are full-time teachers, all types of career fields. If it is, some people are managing it well. I feel like it's definitely time management. It is hard. Even when you're an undergrad, trying to work full-time and be a full-time student is very hard, but a lot of people do it. I personally don't think that I could do it. Like, even with me working part-time, being a full-time student, and you know, selling my books, and then on top of that helping other people with their books, I get overwhelmed sometimes. Like, I literally had to stop my business because it was just becoming too much on top of like being in school. So me personally, I feel like I'm not good at balancing like so many demanding things, because school is very demanding. Like, I have assignments, I had midterms, I had tests, and then still trying to cater to clients, and you know, selling my books isn't as time consuming, but I don't know, I get overwhelmed and I feel like I want to dedicate my time to school and possibly like my part-time job and things like that. So I would say for me, I wouldn't recommend trying to have a full-time job and be a full-time student. But if you feel like you can handle it and still give 100% in all, you know, all things that you do, then go for it. What were some unexpected challenges you experienced as an SLPA? I would say my first day when I got my first job, I think just seeing the caseload, the paperwork, like my first day I actually wanted to cry. Like I was just like, what do I do? And even though I learned everything in undergrad, I experienced clinic, I think it's just that first day, like a lot of people say your first adult job, I think just I wasn't expecting it to like hit me so fast. Like I thought I was gonna be able to shadow someone or kind of like, and that might be my specific job that I had. Like some people, like my sister says, like as a nurse, before you are just thrown out there, you're shadowing someone for 30 days. But for me, I was just, it was unexpected to realize like, all right, you see kids tomorrow, like figure something out. Like I was like, what? Like, hold on, pause. Do I get any type of training? Like, can I sit in on some therapy sessions? They were like, no, you have a degree, like put your degree to work. So that to me was, that was my biggest challenge, because I just felt like I was not prepared. Like I felt like I knew a lot, but it was just scary. But of course, like, you know, after trial and error and just really getting the hang of things, it was like, from there it was pretty much a piece of cake. All right, what certificate? Okay, everyone is asking like the certifications that you need to be a SLPA. Y'all, honestly, that goes by state. And now that they have, now that ASHA has this whole like SLPA certification thing, like I would definitely say look into that. I'm going to post that for everyone as like help, because like I said, I worked in 3 different states, and the biggest difference was the amount of hours. Most states want 100 clinic hours. Like I said, you'll find those rare little states that don't want that many, but for the most part, if you have your clinic hours and you have your bachelor's degree, then you should pretty much be good as far as like your biggest requirements that you need, you know, throughout the country. But other than that, it really varies by state, and I'm not really sure how this SLPA certificate works when you go for apply for jobs, but I think that that should pretty much have you okay. So I'm actually considering doing the ASHA cert, so that's something that I'm probably gonna do after this semester is over. So I'll vlog that for you guys, so you guys can kind of see how that goes. I know that one, I believe you have to like do a certain amount of hours, watch a certain amount of videos. There is a certification test that you have to take. So I'm gonna just take y'all along on that ride with me, because I do want to work as an SLPA while in grad school. I am the type of person where it's like, I like to make money, and I don't like not having a job. And like, granted, I make money from my businesses, but I am not to a point where I am like, my, you know, selling my books is like a full-time income, or like I can pay all my bills and still have money left over with that. So I don't know, that to me is like, I definitely would like to work as an SLPA. And I promise y'all, like, as of right now, we should be going back on campus in January. Like right now, we are doing everything online because of COVID, but so it's a little bit easier for me to have a part-time job. But like I said, the work and the tests are still the same. Just because we're online, it is not easier. But I think just me being able to not have to worry about like driving to class or having to find somewhere to live, that definitely made it a lot easier. That was a big part of me finalizing my decision on what graduate school to attend. But yeah, so that was all the questions I got. You guys asked some really good questions, a lot about clinic, a lot about certification, and I think those are, you know, very big questions. I'm gonna probably just definitely do more videos, because speech pathology, there's just so much to it, and I think that a lot of people don't, my professor says this all the time, a lot of people do not advocate for our field. Like our field is still like, when you tell people, you know, the field, they're still looking at you like, what is that? But then when you say like, oh, I'm a speech therapist, they kind of just put 2 and 2 together, like, okay, so you help people that can't talk or need therapy to get their speech back together. Like, you know, they'll kind of put context clues together. But I really want to be that advocate. I really want to constantly promote, especially minority SLPs, and I just want to promote the field and the career. That's what I've been doing on YouTube these past 2 years, and I'm going to continue to do that. So if I did not answer something in this video, please by all means reach out to me, comment below, and I would love to help you. If you are, maybe I'll do more videos on like grad school. I do have a couple vlogs of me like my online grad school, so I gotta edit those for you guys, but stay tuned, they're coming. And yes, so thank you guys so much for watching. This is a new series here on my channel, so definitely stay tuned. Like I said, you know, the future SLP vlogs and videos are gonna just keep coming. I'm gonna keep them coming. So thank you guys so much for watching.